Well, hello. Today is September 1st, and if everything goes as planned, you'll be watching this video the Friday after Christmas. So yes, this is going to be a project that is months in the making, but it's taken almost 2 years to get done. So if you are new to my channel, you may be a little bit new to my backstory of at least the last year and a half, almost 2 years. So I got engaged on March 5th, 2023. And then life was going happy as planned. We booked our venue, we booked our photographer, all's good to go. And then we were coming up on Easter. We were gonna get together to celebrate with my family. And Easter was on April 9th. On April 8th, my dad was hit and killed out while riding his bicycle by a hit and run driver. The short version of the story is the driver did get caught, maybe served some jail time, but we are living life without my dad. And so there's a few things that I felt needed to be created for my family and also kind of for myself for the grief process. And so haven't talked too much about that, but there is one thing in particular that has inspired a project, and that's what this video is going to be today. And that's why I'm starting here on September 1st, because it might take me 2-3 months, however many months out now, September, October, November, December, 3.5-ish months to get them all done. Yes, this is a multiple item project, and you're about to see why. So if you have been around for a while, or if you've even watched some of my videos recently, if you've seen my design wall, you may have noticed that there is a little tie hanging there right next to my design wall. And that tie is one of my dad's. It was probably like the most coveted one. When we were getting ready for his funeral and everything, we asked people to wear fun ties because that was kind of his thing. He was a goofy guy, liked those novelty kind of things, and this cheap tie was the one that I really wanted. And so I was like, I don't care what anyone else wants, this is the one tie that I want. I remembered him wearing it in my photos for my baptism when I turned 8, and I was like, that's the one I want, that's all I want. And turns out he wore them to all of our baptisms. There are 4 of us siblings all together, and it seems that it has shown up in every single one. And so apparently I wasn't the only one, but since I got that tie, I got the original. My older brother went and got duplicate ties of the same variety off of eBay, I believe. And so all of us have a version of this tie, and because it was so popular, I have decided that I'm going to make 5 quilts of it. So let me show you that tie up close and personal so you can actually see it instead of just being like, well, we're just seeing in the background. So this is the tie, and this one little black sheep has always stuck out. I guess this tie itself is called Black Sheep. And so I don't know, so it's just, when I think of my dad, this is the tie that I would envision. He's got so many of them, but this was just the perfect one. And so I kept looking at it and I was going, I need to make like a sheep quilt. So I'm gonna make 5 sheep quilts, if I didn't say that already. And so we're gonna do that with an Elizabeth Hartman pattern. So if you've been around, or if you can even see in the background here, I've got an Elizabeth Hartman pattern on this couch. I'm gonna use the sheep from the Fab Farm as my pattern. And so what I needed to do is figure out how many sheep I need to make, how big I want these quilts to be, and I did kind of map it out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 4 sheep across, 5 sheep down, so that totals 20 sheep per quilt. I've already mapped it out in a notebook, so I know how many per sheep background squares I need to cut. And I haven't quite figured out the border size yet, but I would like it to fit on Minky. So obviously I think I'm gonna have to end up going wide back, but that's a later on question. So we've got this sheep, and I'm gonna do, per quilt, I'm gonna do 19 of them in white, and then the 20th one is gonna be that black sheep. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep the faces all the same. So they're all gonna be like a Kona white on white. I was originally thinking about doing his, because I've got 2 of my dad's dress shirts in my closet that I took from my mom and said, if I can figure out what to do with these, I'll make something with them. So that's gonna be a different project because I'm not quite sure what to do with those just yet. And somebody did point out that if they are a thinner fabric, then I might want to line them with something, and I feel like that would lose the effect of them being dad shirts. And so I'm going to use like a white solid base for the face, or even like some shade that's close to it, because for like the puff of the sheep fluff around, I'm going to use different like white on whites. I've got a bunch left over from our Unity quilt that are different things like music and cats and paw prints and just kind of fun texture kind of things. And so even if I do the same 19 different prints and do 5 different variations of them, at least I can scatter them around all different, and then and go from there. So my other idea is that in the layout, the one little black sheep will kind of be in a different spot on each one. So like one will maybe be in the lower right, one will be in the lower left, one will be in the upper right, one will be in the upper left. I don't know, they'll kind of see how it all looks. At least that's my thought process. And so I've got a whole lot of black because I bought a whole bunch. But for my background, I bought a whole bunch of Kona mahogany because that was the closest color without going too much in like a burgundy red direction. Like I looked at Bordeaux and I looked at one other one, but they were a little bit more in certain lights that looked right, but other ones not so much. And then I know I have a bolt of Kona white. I think I want to shade a little bit darker, like even like the lightest gray. I don't know if Quicksilver is going to be a good one for the faces, but just to kind of give that separation between the face and then the body. So that's what I'm going to do. And so first thing I have to do is cut a bajillion little squares for, like, I think one of mine says like 900 pieces. So that's why we're starting in September, because I have to make 5 of them. I don't have to make 5 of them, but obviously I'm going to, because I've got myself, my older brother, my younger sister, and then my mom. So if I gave it to half of them, if I gave it to just the siblings, we all need 5. We all need 5. We all need 1. We don't each need 5. I don't need 25 quilts. That's a lot. So join me on this journey that's going to take us from September 1st to December 25th. So here we go. So I had the motivation to cut, so I took advantage of it so I could hopefully get going on these sooner than later. But I've got all my background pieces cut out, which I just added up, and that totals up to almost 1,800 pieces because I've got 5 quilts going with this, and I've still got about 5 yards-ish left of my bolts. So hopefully that'll get through the sashing that I need. I haven't cut sashing and I haven't cut binding, so I think the binding's gonna be black anyways. So now, 1, I'm gonna go eat some ice cream, and 2, I'm going to find the black for my eyeballs, and then figure out what I need for the sheep. All right, so I went ahead and did the black sheep first. One, because there are only 5 of them, because it's 1 per quilt. And it was an easy way to kind of test run everything. And so now 5 down, 95 more sheep to go. Those are all the white sheep. I bought a bunch of white on whites to kind of do this fluffy part, and then I think I'm just gonna do this solid white like I did on this one, and then the eyes are gonna be black. I know the eyes look creepy. I can't remember if I said that already, but they are white on the tie, so I felt like they needed to be white on here. So 5 down, 95 to go. We'll see you again soon. Today is Sunday the 15th of December. Here are my 5 black sheep, and here are the 95 other sheep. So what I think I'm going to do, instead of trimming all 100 at once, I think I'm going to sort them into the piles. So I'm going to put a Post-it on the floor for 1 for my mom, 1 for each of my siblings, and then 1 for me. So as I sort these out, I make sure that nobody ends up with 2 of the same sheep in their piles. So I'm going to go get my living room set up ready so that I can just start making flocks of sheep and then trim them down to their block size. And then it'll be time to put them into their quilt tops, which feels like it'll go faster than it took to get to this point. So this is what 100 trimmed up sheep look like, and now they are ready to hit my design wall and become quilt tops. So this is 5 different quilt tops worth of sheep, so I'm gonna work through them one at a time to get my layout out there. So I've got their OG tie over here is my inspiration. My goal is to have the black sheep be in a different spot on each of the quilts. So I'm going to kind of keep it in like the central location. I don't think I really want any that are up too high or too low. So we are going to see what we can find. So I'm going to get one laid out on here in video and then work through the rest. And once that's done, it's time for sashing and borders. That's it. So I think the craziest part is done, and now it's on to seeing it come to reality. So let's go. I'm so excited to say this is where we're ending tonight, and it's still the 15th. All my sheep for all 5 quilts are in their rows, and so tomorrow I'm gonna get my sashing, do all my math to figure out how many sashing strips I need, and then my borders, and then I think by the end of tomorrow I will have 5 quilt tops. I'm super excited about that because I felt so behind and now I'm getting so caught up, but How cute are these guys? So cute, I love it. Well, this is a hanger with 5 sheep quilt tops on it, 100 sheep total. So that is what we have got going on here. And this is a full bolt, 9 yards of 90-inch wide Minky. So what I'm gonna do, my goal is that I can just load this all on, power through, and just quilt one right after the next without having to pin on, take off, pin on, take off, and all that, and have a bunch of chunks of leftovers. So wish me luck. I'm gonna go ahead and do this part without pinning in and recording that part because it's gonna be a struggle. So I will meet you once the batting's on and ready to quilt the first quilt. So wish me luck. I'll hopefully see you soon. So it has been done. There are 9 yards of Minky wrapped around this leader. And so we are locked and loaded and ready to start quilting. And so we've got our first set of sheep all loaded up. These ended up being about 74 long, so that's my width currently, by 60 tall or wide because it's sideways. And so it's a good lap size. It was kind of the size I was aiming for, but it definitely meant I had to use that 90 wide. This little sheep looks like it's smiling because of this little thread. So I'm going to do that cakewalk design. You've seen it before. You've seen it 1,000 times. I think it's just enough to kind of give this a little bit of texture, give it hold together. And then I'm going to use the light gray thread because I didn't want white on here. I didn't want burgundy on here. And this is kind of its own little beast. So I think the light gray is the best middle ground. So here we go. The end is in sight. At least I think so. Here we go. So if you were keeping track and noticed that the location of the black sheep changed on every view, you would know that this was quilt 5 out of 5 of the sheep. It is now time to offload this and see how much of my 9 yards I have left. And then trim them all up, bind these suckers, and wrap them up for Christmas. So I know I was doing everything on my nostalgic Janome DC 2010 because it was my 21st birthday present from my parents, and it was very significant because I do remember going there with my dad. But I am going to use my new Janome 9480 to do the binding. I have it set up for my last quilt from Quiltmas, and that thing's just going to help me power through these 5 quilts of binding that much faster. So gotta love that AccuFlex foot. It's time to offload this and trim these up. The end is truly in sight. Well, go figure that things would act up when I was trying to sew my binding on the one I was recording, but just so you can see that this was not the same quilt all over again. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quilts all done. So now I just need to lint roll them, lint roll myself, lint roll my floor, because there's just Minky dust everywhere. But I can put my machine to take a little nap for now. And I found this flannel at Joann's that I thought would be the perfect pillowcases. So I'm going to get those lint rolled. These are going to be how I'm going to wrap them. And then it's delivery day. So it's December 23rd today. I have a day to spare. Day and a half, really. Like, it's noon right now. 12:33 on the 23rd. Ugh. So excited. I thought it wasn't going to happen, but they're done. And then the next time I'll see you, they'll have been delivered. So here they all are, rolled up, packed up, and ready for Christmas morning. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 in here, plus little presents for my niece. So today's the 24th, tomorrow's go time. Well, it's December 26th, and all the sheep quilts have gone off to their new homes, except for one, obviously, because it is mine. So I can go over everything and give you like the up close details with mine, but no, this is 1 out of 5, and so boy, am I glad this is over. But it was so worth it, and my family loved them. It went over super well. And I've already gotten pictures of my brother's cat sleeping on one of them. So great success and oh so much fun. So 5 quilts was quite a feat just based on this one alone. But then I also did the other 5 quilts of Quiltmas at the same time. And those ones my mom knew about. Whew. And so basically 10 quilts between August, September. I think September 1st was when I did my first video for this. but it really didn't get started until beginning of November. So I did 10 quilts essentially between November 1st and December 25th. And I hope to not do that again. So these sheep were so much fun. As you know, I love Elizabeth Hartman patterns, and these sheep were no exception. They're so cute. If you're looking at them through here, it's kind of hard to see the difference between the face and the white on whites. But when you look at them in person, you can definitely see the separation between the solid of the Kona and then the prints, which kind of give it some fun. And let me see my black sheep. That guy's gonna be easier to see. And so, so cute, so fun. So as far as how much fabric it took, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was going there, I was like, how much fabric did this end up taking? So there's 11 yards, and I used pretty much everything. 11 yards of this mahogany Kona. I used half a yard to get 5 sheep. So 20 sheep, 5 half yards. So 10 yards of these different fabrics. The Kona for the face, that's probably a couple yards there. It was 30, I cut 34 strips of binding. I've still got one hanging here that I didn't need to use, but 34 2.5-inch strips of binding. I used 8.5 yards essentially of the 90 wide Minky. Whew. And so what I did with my batting, because I know you may have seen a little bit of that in the piecing, I used 2 battings that were Super Queen, which were 93 by 120, and they barely made it. I was thinking with some of my experience from using batting that it's been a little bit bigger than what it said, but apparently the Super Queen was the exception to that rule, because I was stretching it just to get it past my quilt tops, which were 60 inches wide. But I did it. So I used 2 Super Queen battings and a twin batting, because there was no sense in buying another Super Queen. And oh, they turned out so nice. I was getting nervous with the quilting. When you see it up close, when I saw it on the frame going, I was like, ooh, I hope I don't regret this, because it's gray and it's kind of feeling really dark. But when you see it from far away, like, it just blends right in, just gives it that texture. And then on the back, it has that nice swirly cakewalky texture. It's just kind of little sheet fluff. So whew, this was quite an adventure. I didn't get a whole lot of pictures on Christmas of them. Like, I got one big one of all 5 of them, and then a couple detailed pictures of my quilt. So I will sprinkle in some of the also few in progress pictures, because I also didn't take a lot of those because I was just so nervous that I would like accidentally send one to my mom or my sister or somebody on a group chat. So I'm gonna give you some pictures, and then I will see you very soon as we are gearing up for the new year, a new project, a new theme hopefully, and a whole new adventure in 2025. So thanks for joining me in this long video of my sheep creation. I'm calling it Ode to a Tie at this point, and I'm so glad they were well received by my family, and I hope you enjoyed the process as well. So again, enjoy some photos, and we'll see you again soon.